As you may know, Marth is able to land a tipper forward smash on the majority of the cast through the side platforms of Battlefield. On the other hand, Lucina seems unable to do so regardless of where she positions herself. Because of this, many people in the community have come to conclude that Lucina simply has a smaller range than Marth, or rather that the hitboxes on her sword don't extend to the same length that Marth's do. While this may seem to be the case, this conclusion is actually premature and does not fully encapsulate the truth of the matter. Thus, I would like to begin by debunking one misconception, being that Lucina cannot hit any of the characters on the side platform with her forward smash at all. For some reason, this is one myth that people seem to just blindly believe without ever testing themselves, and as you can clearly see, both Toon Link and Robin can be hit by Lucina as well as Marth. Despite many numerical sources of data proving otherwise, people still believe that Lucina does in fact have a smaller range than Marth. One main reason for this is the aforementioned Battlefield case, in which many people will point to this as proof that Lucina does in fact have smaller range. In order to understand what is really happening though, we need to talk about what range really means. Many people are under the impression that Lucina's sword hitbox is actually shorter than Marth's, which is simply not the case. In reality, they are equivalent in both size and shape, such that if you were to superimpose them, they would overlap perfectly. The cause of the Battlefield issue is not from a hitbox length or size issue, but rather from their difference in height responsible for making them different characters in the first place. For a simple way to visualize this, imagine everything about yourself is the same except that you are 3 feet taller. Your arms are the same size and you can reach forward the same amount of distance, however, your arms are now 3 feet higher than before. This is an exaggerated form of what happens with Marth and Lucina. Because Marth is slightly taller than Lucina, he is able to hit locations above him that Lucina cannot by a slim margin. However, by this same logic, Lucina is actually able to also hit locations below her that Marth cannot hit. As such, it is inaccurate to claim that Lucina has a shorter range than Marth, as in reality, Lucina's hitboxes are the same exact size, however, they are only shifted downward very slightly on the y-axis. A practical example of this can be seen in Kirby's crouch animation. There are 3 parts to Kirby's crouch animation, the first being a low point when he first crouches down, then a high point as he bounces back up, and the third small turn as he looks to the side and slightly inflates. Throughout this, his hurtbox also shifts from low to medium to high, allowing us to test the range of Marth and Lucina's jab. As you can see, Marth is unable to jab Kirby out of his crouch during part 1 and 2 of his animation, however when he shifts slightly in part 3, Marth is able to consistently hit him. When testing this with Lucina, while she still cannot hit Kirby in the bottommost part of his crouch, she can consistently hit him in the upper portion in part 2, and during part 3. This would not be possible if it were true that Lucina's range on her sword was actually shorter than Marth's. Rather, this proves that her hitboxes are in fact the same size, only shifted downward. This is the same scenario as in the case of the Battlefield platform, where Marth can hit higher than Lucina, but Lucina can hit lower than Marth. In light of this information, it becomes increasingly clear that Marth and Lucina do in fact have the same range. This is something that was actually proven with data mining a while ago, however, despite numerical evidence, people still seem to believe that Lucina did in fact have shorter range. So please educate yourself before widely spreading misinformation, as this is one myth of many that is responsible for stigmatizing Lucina as vastly inferior to Marth despite being proven false. I may or may not make a video about other myths, such as whether or not Marth consistently does more damage or kills earlier than Lucina, however, that will take more time to create. Until then, thanks for watching and I hope you found this video useful.